Yo, what up? It's Abstract Square. What's going on, y'all?
What's poppin'? We here, we back in a new location.
New location. I feel good about this location,
Voices
man.
sounding smooth and silky.
The vibes in the studio is fire.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you hear this
Excited.
fucking...
What we talking
I
about
haven't
today?
even intro you yet, man. You
Yo,
gotta relax
this guy's
over there.
screaming out LES. We didn't even intro him yet.
Come
yo.
on, don't be telling people I'll be rolling.
Yo, Abstract Square, what's going on? This is episode what? I always ask.
Who gives a shit?
Doesn't matter. We'll plug it in. We'll
Yeah,
punch
It's
it.
abstract. We just popped up on your screen. How about that?
Basically.
How about that? Yo, we got a special guest. My guy.
I'm here.
Yo, fuck out. Yo, my guy Jose, what's good, man?
What up?
Yo,
Finally, I'm here.
Finally,
Yeah,
yo,
finally.
I don't know if the listeners understand. We've been trying to get Jose on the podcast for a minute, but we've been having some challenges.
Yeah, I ain't going through the right channel.
The right channels. We're not trying to meet you in Bermuda.
Yeah,
know,
like,
Going through the
come
right
on,
channels,
man.
man. Listen,
We
talk
got
to my
shit.
daughter.
Oh
She
yeah.
sets up all my appointments.
That's the real
man,
boss,
that's
right?
a real fact.
What
That's a
we
real
talking
fact.
about today, man? What we getting into?
Entrepreneurship. I mean entrepreneurship. You know,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, real life. When you got a balance,
Yeah,
entrepreneurship and your regular life, your family, possibly your career,
Word.
on top of your entrepreneurship.
Word.
You know, those are interchangeable for me. So we're gonna talk about it.
I mean, real quick though, how do we know this guy? Just for the listeners,
Yeah,
how do we know
who's
this
this
guy,
guy, Jose?
This guy Jose, man.
Yo, I know Jose from a failed project.
Okay.
That's
I
true.
also know Jose. I know Jose from Gino Green.
Okay.
Remember Gino Green with the G's on it? I know Jose from Stolen Dean.
That's
I know
true.
Jose from Coogee. I know
Okay.
Jose from Fubu.
Okay.
I know Jose from partnerships with Puma,
Talk about
Rag
it.
and Bone,
Talk about it.
fucking Billionaire Boys Club.
Talk about it.
Yo, Jose told me one day, he's like, yo, man, I like my life. I run my own shit. If I wanted to work for Ralph Lauren, I'd go do that shit right now, but I design my life.
Mm.
And that's why I decided, let me respect this motherfucker because he talked that shit.
That's when he decided to respect you.
At that point,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna
After
respect.
that.
I wasn't gonna respect you after the failed project.
After that.
That shit sounds crazy.
That's a crazy.
Side note, his college roommate was wearing all the stolen Dean shit.
Yo, my college roommate. Shout out to Ja. My college roommate got
Ja.
like 10 fucking
Word.
Stolen Dean jackets. I'm like, yo, you dumb fly. This shit's cool. Got the bones on it.
Josh stay fly.
10 years later, I meet Jose through Halim. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know Ja. And that's where he got all the jackets from. I'm like, oh, shit, you're a good dude. You gave Ja some jackets. Shout out to the Brotherhood, by the way. Kari, what's
Shout
up,
out.
Word.
That's what's up. Well, yo, Jose, I got some questions for you, man.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship. I want to get into where you knew that this was your path and when, it was that light, that popped in your head. Like, you know what? This corporate life is not for me. This entrepreneurship, that's the only way I know.
I definitely want to hear that specifically from the chairman of the New York Dominican Chamber of Commerce.
Nice.
It sounds like you really know what's going on.
elected,
Newly
Newly
elected.
elected.
Congrats.
Thank you. So, basically, it's like anybody else, right? Sunday comes along. It's like school, right? Sunday comes along. You're starting to hate Sunday. Why? Because it's Monday.
Yeah.
Word.
Now you're dreading Monday.
Yeah.
Now it's like, shit, I can't wait till Friday.
Yeah.
Like you're spending 4 fucking days of your life worrying about Friday.
Mm.
So I said, fuck that. This isn't for me. I got to figure it out. And one thing Thomas knows about me is just like, even if I haven't figured it out yet, I'm going to figure it out somehow.
I hear you.
But I feel you can't figure it out if you're if you're sitting on the sidelines, you're not playing in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Gotta take, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
fucking-
More specifically, Jose, talk about your influence and what you've done for the companies that you've worked for and that you've promoted.
Or
I
have
mean-
contracted you more.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, designing. I told Thomas, I said, listen, I design life, culture, and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically it. Just everything that I feel, everything that we're in my neighborhood. Everything growing up
Full of
around
art.
here, everything growing up around here, what people think about like New York and how it's gentrified and things like that. I saw it first.
Yeah.
Like the things that used to gentrify my neighborhood was a Rite Aid and the Blockbuster. When you saw that coming in, you were like, oh shit. Now it wasn't Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
You know, so when I started seeing that, but I also think about it. I'm here in the 80s. I'm looking at Keith Haring,
Yeah.
Andy Warhol, Basquiat. Like
Yeah.
these are cats that are just hanging around. Like, you know what I
This
mean?
neighborhood.
This neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like I saw Keith Haring across the street from my grandmother's apartment.
Shout out to the Lower East Side.
Shout out to Lower East Side, 500 East House in Lillian Wall Projects. What up?
Gang, gang.
Across the street, Keith Haring. Across the street, Keith Haring was there painting. I met him one day.
Yeah.
You know, at that time, you don't know who he is because you're just a kid from the neighborhood and everybody else is there. But then you realize this guy passes away like anything else, right? The guy passes away and you start realizing what was around you.
Yeah.
You know, and things like that, I saw like, yeah, you can impact. You can't impact without people really knowing who you are. Obviously, now Keith Haring, I knew all these guys are well known.
Right.
But I knew that I can portray art somehow. I can influence things without actually people knowing who I am. Right. I don't really care for that. You know, I'm a Tupac fan. All I want is money, fuck the fame.
So talk to us about where, you know, you start to see that trajectory moving up. You heard a lot of brands just now. I heard Puma, I heard Fubu, I heard Coogee. I heard a lot, you know, but where did that maybe that first kind of taste or sprinkle of the bigger brands and the bigger money come in?
Dude,
talk that money shit, Jose. Don't fucking be scared.
Listen, let's
talk that money shit.
Listen, we're gonna get money. We're gonna talk money. We're gonna talk about Get Money Queens, right?
No, we could always do that,
right? So listen. So what it is when I was done with school, I interned for Fubu. That's that. You know, Fubu, whether people liked it, they didn't. You know, people want Sean John Rockaway, but Fubu is what it is. Fubu is the university for our golden culture.
Where did you study in school? Where'd you start? You know,
business administration.
Okay, so you did the business route.
It wasn't design. Like again, like, you know, I don't come from a place where art was something that was going to get you out of it. Right?
Which is crazy, growing up in LES.
No, of course, but you know, you're growing up in the LES. You're looking at the people that I named weren't from the Lower East Side. They made their stamp here, like Keith Haring from Philadelphia, I believe, or Pennsylvania. Andy Warhol, definitely not from the Lower East Side. No. Basquiat's Haitian, right? He lived in Brooklyn. Yeah. You know, so it's not things like that. I grew up in a neighborhood where most other neighborhoods, and my neighborhood was immigrants, mostly immigrants. Right. So with immigrants, you're not coming over here and you're going to do art or do whatever the fuck you want. No, you're going to go to fucking school. You're going to study. You're going to be a lawyer, which obviously was a failed attempt. Right. In my neighborhood, not a lot of people were like that. But that wasn't a part of it, right? Baseball, basketball,
pimping,
singer,
selling drugs. You know, the things that weren't in my wheel well were the things that were supposed to get you outside of school. So that wasn't really influence. My mother did a good job. She would buy me art books, little sketchbooks and things like that. But it wasn't really influence. Like, hey guys, you got to do this. Yeah, like, you can't do this to get out. Like, you know, like if I grew up now as a millennial, yeah, it's a different story. None of us heard art is going to get you out of your fucking house. That's an interesting thing because I have a really good relationship with Jose. We would do a lot of projects together, and one of the first things I noticed about Jose is that he like genuinely can draw, which is something that's natural given talent, right? I know he went to school for not art, but he came back with back to his natural talent to make a career out of something that wasn't like praised, right? So like obviously they knew you could do it, but like let's take the safe route and go to business school and go get a good ass job, right?
Well, you know, I interned.
Right.
I interned, and honestly, it was more my competitive spirit was the shit that really was like, oh, I can do this shit. Yeah. Honestly, there was a dude that was designing, and he was literally a fucking, like, I knew this dude. Yeah. And this dude was like, yo, you're making how much fucking money? Oh, no, I can fucking do this shit.
Yeah. Yo, this intern talk, that's funny. It's been in the news a lot. A lot of talk on Twitter about getting paid, you know, to intern or not. And
I don't believe
back in your day, talk to me about these interns, yo.
Back in my
this
day,
millennial talk, they want to get paid.
How fucking old are you?
Don't worry
back
about
in
that.
my day.
Yo, we around the same age. But listen, these interns expect to get paid now.
That's wild.
My biggest problem with today, and you know, listen, I have interns come through my office. You see it all the time. And one of the things I do with the internship programs that wherever they work for, me and my partner Willie Esco, shout out to Willie Esco.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Willie Esco. I just want to make that clear. Willie Esco, Escobar, yeah.
So, which I interned for him, which I became his partner eventually.
Dope.
That's how you level up.
Yeah.
Word.
That's how it is, you know. But the thing is, going back to the intern thing, right? I have a lot of interns, and a lot of them, like, you know, some of them come from my neighborhood, some of them come from other neighborhoods. Like, they don't come from college, they don't come from
They're raw.
places. They're raw. It's raw, and what I believe in that is that there's a lot of things in our business that could run a lot smoothly.
Yeah.
If I can get an intern to just listen, write that fucking Gantt chart, do all this stuff, and but at the end of the day, they're always gonna be good.
Yeah.
There's these kids, man, that they don't have no opportunities, man. Like I was smart enough to see what was going on in my neighborhood. I was cool with everybody. I love females, so females were kind of like the thing that kept me. So I was more focused
Come here, girl.
on that.
I control you, girl. I control you, girl.
But the Titanic. But it was I had that opportunity. A lot of these kids didn't. So it was just like when my wife kills me all the time. She's like, "Yeah, but you can get other people," and I'm like, "Yo, dude, you just got to give these cats a chance."
Yeah.
Even if they feel like this, I know I gave them a chance.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good segue in their conversation that I really want to have. And really, you mentioned your wife, and I'm interested in like understanding the dynamic, right? So we know entrepreneurship is really, really difficult. Takes most of your time, or had taken most of your time at some point in your life. So, like, how do you really work that real work-life balance when it's outside of corporate, when like the clock ends at 5 o'clock kind of thing?
Well, that's the thing. So my thing was a little different, right? So I've been basically independent since
I've known you. It's been a while.
2000. No. Say 2007. 2007.
So really
it was like
What year did you get
2006.
married?
I was teetering.
What year did you get married?
2007. A couple of months after that.
Wow.
A couple of months after that, I was like, you know what? Like it's not for me, man. It's just getting back to the original question, which I answered yours. It's just that I don't like coming home and I'm upset at somebody else.
Yeah.
And I have to have a conversation with somebody that I care about someone else. Like, first of all, I don't like dudes. So why am I talking about? Why are dudes, like, you know what I mean, taking
Shout out to Dame Dash, by the way.
No, it's not Dame Dash. Actually, I like Dame Dash. He knows I'm a fan of him.
He has a similar philosophy.
Right.
He's like, you have to surround yourself with women.
Yes.
Shout out to Kenny Burns,
yes.
too.
Yes. I mean,
Right.
you know, it's funny. Me and Thomas have had a lot of conversations, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I was excited about the podcast, because I feel it's just like anything else, right? We've had conversations.
In the streets, none of y'all call me Tommy, though. Like, that's real. Like,
First of all, I didn't call you Tommy. I called you Thomas.
all right, cool.
Mr. Kiss emojis over here.
Right.
What's wrong
Bell
with that?
Crooks, aka feminist.
But I would come home and I'm talking about someone else, and I'm like, yeah, that's not for me, man. But at the same token, it's just like, your last podcast, right? The Henny at the workplace. Right?
Yeah.
You would talk. I was telling Thomas, I was like, yeah, I would have been a good one for that one too.
Yeah.
Because it's
you
when
give two shits.
one of you guys, I don't know, it was Chad or Brian, asked the question of just why don't we have more of so talk about agencies, right? Why don't we have our own?
Right. That was me.
Yeah, that was you, right? So the biggest and he knows I'm a big proponent of having your own. The biggest reason why you don't have your own, a lot of people don't have their own, is because everybody wants. Everybody wants it, right? Nobody's willing
That's so
to
fucking
do it.
profound.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, no
Yeah.
one's willing to do it. No one's, and that at 2007, I was like, I'm willing to do this shit.
Got it.
Fuck the
That's
check.
an interesting.
Profound, right?
That's an interesting period of your life in time, because that's when we all experience the fall of the economy, which is typically the hardest time to.
I didn't say it was the smartest time to do it.
That's the hardest period of, I know, for my life.
Yeah, it was rough.
Scary. Forget just being difficult. It was nerve-wracking.
It was nerve-wracking, right?
But think about this, right? So I'm taking a chance, going what you're saying, right? I'm taking a chance on starting my own career. Think about the people that have homes and families.
Right.
How much scary can it be for me?
Yeah.
And look
Right.
at them. They got these fucking houses that they couldn't afford, period.
Right.
They have their whole family in there. Their other families have the same scenario, because everybody kind of went through their home. Everybody went with the same plan. They rode the same wave, right?
Right.
And now all this shit's crashing. Where are they going?
Right. Now, talk to me about you just got married. You're deciding to go towards entrepreneurship. Talk about
those details.
What's that
and
mindset?
How
What's
you
her perspective?
How you communicate that vision with your wife?
Well, listen, she's always been like.
For
Listen, it wasn't. It's not whether it was an easy conversation or a conversation. It was just like she was more like, "Yeah, you can really do this."
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was more on that. So I was like, I'm super confident by nature. Like, if anybody knows me.
But it sounded like because you had her in your back,
Well, it makes it easier.
making sure that you can do that.
But at the same time, it's also rougher when the things that you do try to do don't work out.
Right.
Like, it's a lot easier, and I've always told it's a lot easier to fail when it's just you.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
We tend to think that failure is not an option at this point.
Yeah.
When failure is the biggest part of our growth, right?
Of course. If you don't fail, listen, anybody has ever told me they don't fail, they're
sucking like
doing
liars.
anything. You're lying. 2, you're a trust fund kid, so you're not really trying.
Shout out to my trust fund niggas out here. You heard?
or three, you really haven't stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's a Chad, to answer your question, is that she sat there and she was like, "Yo, go for it. I mean, might as well. We're here already, right?
Respect.
Right.
We're here for it. Go for it."
So
Yo, Jose's fucking ascension is so real because, I didn't know Jose during the FUBU days, but we were kind of clicking back when he started working with Willie again, and we literally would get up 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, start working,
You welcome.
meet each other uptown until like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
mhm.
Like, it was really so. I had that concern, right? Because even with my wife at this point, I was concerned about having that conversation. Like, yo, I'm not going back to work.
Yeah.
So during 2 or 3 years of my life, I was independent. For a year and a half to 2 years of that, I was working with Jose, and it was probably one of the biggest learning experiences of my life to say, you know what, fuck it. But then you get a little bit of reality. Be like,
Talk to
nah.
me more about that mindset, because you had one foot in corporate,
Right.
one foot out. Like, I know, Jose, you all the way entrepreneur, right? You got a different mindset. And Tommy, you had one foot in. Chad, I know you got one foot in. Me, I got one foot in.
Right.
But what's the difference in that mindset between corporate and being free and being on your own as an entrepreneur?
Security. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's just the understanding that at the end of the week, somebody gonna give me a check that I probably really didn't earn like that. When you on your own, you earning every little bit of every penny, and it even feels so much better. You know what I mean? Like, independence is a big deal. It makes you feel really, really good. But
when everybody memes that it's payday, you feel sad as shit.
for real,
'Cause you're not a part of that vibe.
I mean, for me, I'm responsible for another human being.
Yeah.
I can't fail her.
Nah. And
You
that's
know,
motivation, right?
That's motivation. But for me, it's also the risk.
Yeah.
it's a financial model. It's high risk, high return. Low risk, low return.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, at this point, what am I willing to risk, right? I could potentially say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go do it and let this corporate shit go and go pursue my passion, which is, the juice bar and the coffee shop idea that
Still gonna happen.
it's still going to happen.
Always happens.
But it's balanced.
Yeah. And it's like, what am I willing to risk in order for that to go down, right? Like,
Or, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm weighing my options right now, and I don't know if I'm ready at this current moment to risk the swim lessons, the dance lessons, the schooling, the tutoring.
It means a lot because, like,
Yeah.
especially as a young woman, like,
right.
that means so much in today's
But
world.
Jose can attest to this, right? It is about that sacrifice. It is about saying, you know
Listen,
what?
But you
My
know
swimming
what?
lessons at Soho House.
You know the one thing. The one thing you didn't mention that you're risking is the sleep. If you
Ooh.
risk that, everything else comes.
Talk about it.
You know
Actually,
what I mean?
Chad's the one that put me on to not sleeping, to be real with you.
Not sleeping is the key. It's not healthy,
But it's
that's
sacrifice.
But that's the sacrifice that's most important.
It's actually when the peace happens, too. Like, I know when I started working at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. is when I got the most accomplished.
Absolutely.
It's completely quiet. Everything is cool.
Nothing going
There's
on.
no cat videos up.
Nobody's on the gram posting. Your scrolling doesn't make a difference. It's just a real comfortable
Get to the
place.
business.
Sacrifice
Yeah.
that sleep a little bit. I like that as a gem.
I mean, listen. I think I don't know how different things would have been for me if I would have had my daughter
Yeah.
in 2007. So I can't speak on that. I can't attest to that. Like, so I don't know. I can only speak on I was
He
not
was definitely
single.
trying, though. Shout out to your wife.
Listen, I practice every day. You know what I mean? Unlike AI, I talk about practice.
Shoot the club up.
I talks about practice.
We be at the bar. Jose be like, "You gonna get pregnant tonight?" He said that shit about 3 years. I'm like, your shit don't work, Jose.
Yo, you know what? That was an ongoing joke. People think my shit didn't work.
Damn. Well,
I plan everything.
I hear that.
No, you
For
know,
real.
so it's different. So I can speak. Just I don't know if you have a child.
No.
So
yet.
we're two
parents in the
two
building.
the
Yeah.
parents in the building, and it's like I don't know how different things would have been for me if I had my daughter years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't have to worry about that now. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean it's real because in hindsight, I'm looking at me, no kids,
This is when
got
you
a
do
job,
it.
like
This is when you
this
do
is
it.
when I shoot,
This
shoot
is
that
when
shot.
you do it.
And you grind like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
I
don't really
do.
sleep like the rest of
Nah,
us.
I don't.
Yeah.
This is when you do it.
So when I look at Jose, I kind of see myself a little bit, right?
You're a little
Fuck out of here,
You're a
yo.
little tall.
Pretty.
You're a little tall.
Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Nah, stop.
Nah, because I got my degree in business administration.
Okay.
I used to design. I call myself a retired designer. And
Shout out to the cover art though.
Yeah.
Mixtape King?
Mixtape.
And I feel like at this point in my life, I'm ready to transition back into like entrepreneurship and business, right? What was that transition like for you, coming from a degree in business administration, diving into creative, now to the efforts that you've got going on today?
Again, it's so many things were different for me. It's I don't believe in the word luck, but I was extremely fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Think about when I came into this industry.
It just started damn near.
FUBU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing. People can
The
say
Gap
whatever they
commercial.
want. There is nothing bigger than that.
Shout
in
out to
our culture.
LL.
Shout out to that.
Shout
Gap
out,
commercial.
shout out to Damon John, J.
Yeah.
Alexander Martin, Keith, Carl Brown. Like,
Word.
you know what I mean? Like, shout out to them. Them
Shout out to
cats
the
don't get
co-founders.
enough
So
respect.
I got a
you know what I
question
mean?
now. Let's talk about relationships and entrepreneurship. I mean, there's a way you
It's
move,
the only thing that matters.
and some people don't understand how important that is when it becomes, when it comes to entrepreneurship. How those relationships that you manage and build over the
I have a
years.
2-tier thing to that, right? I believe you can burn bridges.
Mm.
Sometimes you gotta light that bitch on fire.
Let that shit go.
Let that shit breathe.
Yo, can we quote that shit?
Yeah, we can quote that shit.
It's a thing where, again, part of it coming in through FUBU, right? A lot of people were given opportunities in this industry, in my industry. And then, in fact, the whole industry as a whole, what we're doing right now stems from FUBU record industry. That whole
culture.
thing, it's culture, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Fatty Girl.
Fatty girl.
This guy.
But a lot of things come from that, stem from that, right? But a lot of people were given opportunities where they would never have had opportunities. It's one of the things where the gift and the curse is you bring up your boys with you, right?
Yeah.
Your boys come up with you. Some of them just ain't
Not
meant
built
to
for it.
be there, but they just put in a position, and now because they know listen.
Hardest conversations you got.
The illest thing I've ever realized in the music industry, right, is that the people that are the most assholes are the ones that have absolutely no fucking talent, can get you nothing, and they're just there off the strength that you just been tapped. You were lucky enough. At that point, I believe in luck. You were lucky enough to be next to someone that put you on.
Damn.
Yeah, but those are also ones that fall all the way, like to the
Yeah,
bottom.
sometimes they listen. You got can
Talentless
stay.
fuck.
Your cock can stay. Your guy can stay hot. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps going. And there was a lot of people in this industry that just shouldn't have been here, right? Honestly, I really believe that. It's just like, dude, and it shows that in time, right? Because now they blew through all their money. They don't have relationships why? Because they're assholes. See, those at that time, for example, right? I would have burned that bridge. I was like, fuck you.
Damn, I want to hear names. You out here calling shots. I want to hear. I know you. I'm not gonna do that on you, but
it's not. It's
I'll do
not
it for
shot.
you. We could talk about. Nah, I'm
No,
playing.
listen. it's not shots. It's just reality. Listen,
Yeah.
and if they're listening to your podcast, they're sitting there and knowing that
yeah.
it's reality.
Man,
it's
that
not
shit
because
was
of
me.
me. It's just what it is. It's
Yeah.
reality. It's
I
like
couldn't
you
even draw.
you have to burn those bridges, and I learned that younger in this industry. I was just like, you know what? I just know people like you. I just seen people like you. I know. Listen, the best thing about me, I got fucking patience. He'll tell you.
Facts.
You'll never beat me. I just could wait it out.
I'll sit right there.
I'll sit right there. I'll just
Shit.
wait it out. But you will never beat me. So I just know. So I move like that's how I move. I move with my family that way. I move with my friends that way. I move in business that way. It's like you cannot beat. Like, I would just wait. I'm good. I don't check in I don't check into people. Like my Instagram is a hit or miss. Sometimes it's a good picture. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, yo, I want to do that.
Go
Maybe
and check Jose's Instagram.
But check this out.
What's your handle? What's the
It could be a lot more.
I could imagine.
Right? And I don't do it because that's just not really my style. Like, you know what I mean? I love having fun. I'm loud. I got good energy, but boasting is not my style. Although people mistake my loudness, my confidence for boasting.
Honestly, I look at your Instagram and it doesn't look like boasting to me. It looks like you're enjoying life.
That's
Shout
what
out
it
to my
is.
man ASAP Poppy out here.
You know that. Bacardi Poppy. Well, actually, Barcelona Poppy. I'm Dominican. Well, shout out to all my Dominicans.
That's what's up.
But, you know, so it's that. Those are there's some people that feel that way about me.
Shit.
I'm good. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, like, look, as long as you don't check in with people, you don't have to check in with people, right? You don't have to be like, yo, let me make sure this person knows I'm doing okay, even if you don't fuck with them. I don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like anybody that you need to feel that you need a relationship for that, it's not worth it. You can burn
That's
that
so
bridge.
real.
Yeah.
You know?
Talk to me about this internet, yo. The internet, I mean, you've been in here since 2000, what? You've been in the game for a minute.
2000.
Yo, B keep aging my man.
No, but we out here. Experience is gold.
Yo, go to my
Since
Instagram.
S&D's was the place to go shop at.
Right. But talk to me
right.
about the internet and how shit has changed business
Yo, when
and
I
how
got
you
it-
had to adapt.
When I got into Fubu, they had a company called Y2G.
What?
That's-
Sound like
yeah.
a name of a rapper.
It actually does now, right? Y2G. And it was like the first Fubu. Not the first Fubu. It was the first YouTube. It was the first World Star, actually. They just had all this content,
Shout out
had
to
the
Queens.
idea for all this content. But I think the computers weren't built for that yet. The internet wasn't
were
ready
ahead.
for that type of shit.
There wasn't even compression at that point.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't load that site. It was horrible. Like, you know, it was terrible. Like every other site. Not that site was terrible, because they flushed a lot of money into that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of money
There
into
had
that.
to be a lot of money. You still talking about H.264? No, there is no H.264 for video yet. It's still like
Nah, that
full on
wasn't.
video.
So, you know, so it's so the internet changed because technology changed, and only because technology changed. And in fact, things didn't really change until the iPhone came out.
I was gonna say there wasn't even
Yeah.
broadband at that time. To be real with you,
Like the iPhone came out, what, 2009, 10? What
That's
the fuck
crazy.
was
We
that?
still on, we
2008?
still on 56Ks around Fubu
we
time.
were still in BBM chat rooms
Right.
Nah,
at
we
that
still in
time.
the AIM
Yeah.
chat room.
But even
Shout out
but,
Mars
Right.
Venus.
but
Shout.
listen, even in the BlackBerry, like you couldn't do what you could do with an iPhone.
No.
And I had a BlackBerry for a minute.
I
Like,
love my BlackBerry.
nah, listen,
That was the hardest transition.
I liked it. No, I liked it when everybody had BBM. When
Yeah, the SkyTel
when I went
pager.
from like 100 BBM friends to 2, I was like, it's time to change.
It's time to
Yeah.
go.
I definitely
I
had the
waited that
two-way
long, too.
pager.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
I
was
had a
the
SkyTel.
corporate.
Shout
That
out
was
to
the
Cadillac Tile.
that was the corporate cell phone.
Yeah.
The
Send it.
two-way pager.
That's
Send
how.
an email.
Actually, that's how I started my credit.
I
With a
remember
time
that.
port.
Yeah, they was on campus. And
Listen, I'm not gonna shit on my man Chad, but it's like I knew some people with the two-way pager is called a two-way pager. You need somebody else with it to be able to
And
do
Chad was
that.
one of the only people with that big silver time port.
But my thing was like, I
And
didn't
Shout out to
cell phone on my
Motorola.
head.
I knew people that were non-industry with them things on. They had like 2 people's phone numbers on it. I'm like, yo, dude, you could
Get outta
send them an
here.
email.
Get outta here.
I was a
Yeah.
bum ass nigga. My shit wasn't even turned on.
I definitely had that Cadillac top.
Nigga just saving contacts and the shit.
Yeah, contact.
I definitely had that fabulous ringtone though.
Yeah.
Yo, Jose, what's next, bro? Like, I know you got a lot going on. We don't even talk about, like, one thing we did say is that you're big on fashion, but you go so far past fashion at this point.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, you sell
listen,
steel at this point, correct?
sustainable steel.
What the fuck
so
is that?
not-
What is that?
Well, it's basalt rebar.
Okay.
So you know steel rebar.
Yeah,
Rebar,
yeah.
you stepping on everything in here is rebar, right? So what it is, basalt rock is volcanic rock. So they compress it, they spin it, they put it into like a little potion, and they make this hardened rebar.
So you out here selling rebar?
Well, I'm
Selling
not
infrastructure
selling
and physical.
rebar. I'm not personally selling.
Nah,
rebar.
you're not out in the street slinging steel.
Yo, I got it
Pause.
for cheap. Nah.
No, you know what it is, because of look, people got into music and they got into fashion, right? Some people got into fashion, they got into music. And I felt like I'm not a rapper. I don't really like into like Halim's the only music cat I really actually like. And shout out to my man
Well, let's say, don't do that
Mark
to Keno.
LaBelle.
That's kind of foul.
Mark
Shout
LaBelle.
out.
Shout out to my man Mark LaBelle and Keno. You know, so those are and Money Nels, LES cats.
Shout out
Yeah.
Money Nows.
You know that.
Yep.
But you know, them them 3 cats actually are the ones that I really, really like dealing with. Not that I don't like dealing with everybody else, but those are the ones that I'm close to. And I just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But why not use the doors that are open for me
Exactly.
for anything else? You know, and 50 told me that. You know, I rolled. You know, that's how I'm sitting here, right? I know. I got to meet Halim through the whole G Unit movement. I was a part of that, and through Halim, I met Thomas and Chad, and I'm here talking with Brian.
Yeah, you know me now.
You know, but
Word.
50's mentality was, I'm a nigga, get rich or die trying. And he knew getting rich wasn't just selling albums.
Right.
This dude was
Yeah.
taking meetings for
tops.
everything.
Yeah.
God rest his soul, Chris Lighty. That dude right there. That dude, like, talk about a visionary for our culture that doesn't get mentioned enough. That's Chris Lighty, dude.
Yeah.
Like you know, and he was never, you know, he had Tribe, and Tribe's music was
Queens
so
What's Up.
deep into Queens What's Up, you know that. But you know, he had Tribe, and you know, Tribe's music was just so embedded into the culture. They weren't really trying to like expand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That wasn't really their style. I don't know for a fact, but it's just kind of like it's what it is. Either the timing wasn't right, so he didn't really have a lot of people he can practice with. You know, he had Busta, and Busta's a character. You know, Busta's animated. It's
Yeah.
great. You know, but you didn't get but so many things. But with 50, he was able to just tap anything because he had the person that needed to do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean? He needed to layers. So,
I love that talk. He talk about coke, vitamin water. You getting into construction.
I mean, it's
Let's
One
talk
of our
about
past guests, Dashida, is getting into cannabis and hemp and other things. You know, like these are industries that are opening
I
doors.
got another industry.
like
for you.
I always feel
Let's talk about you being the ambassador to travel of Bermuda right
No,
now.
you
Let's
gotta
talk
say
about that.
tourism and entertainment.
I know I'm pulling up.
I was in Bermuda a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, when?
It was beginning of July for a wedding.
Okay.
So I stayed on the
right?
west side. Beautiful.
Beautiful, right? I mean,
A lot of opportunity out there.
like some people hate me for saying it, but it's like my favorite island.
It's beautiful.
That sounds
Yeah.
crazy.
Half of my, it's. I'm gonna tell you what it is about Bermuda that I love. Right? You go there, everything just seems like pristine.
Yeah.
And I like the natural beauty of all the other islands. Don't get me wrong, but it's just also the people. You know, like you go to the Dominican Republic, and you know when you go into like the hoods of the Dominican, they love you. Those are real people. But then you get to the people that have made something, and they forgot that they don't come from that. You know what I mean? It's just like you see that more. To me, it's more apparent there and in other islands.
Yeah.
That, you know what? We made a little bit more. Now I'm not really fucking with that. I don't eat fucking rice and beans. Fuck that. Like, you know that
Yeah.
type of shit. Like not that they say that, but it's just kind of like the vibe.
You get that
I
vibe. Yeah.
Entitlement.
You know, it's
Wow.
it's an entitlement that's unserving. To be honest with you, any place. I don't care if it's my homeland or anything that has such a fucking racial divide towards people.
It's crazy.
That's not vibing
So
with me, dude.
really quick, I want to sort of take the listeners through like your progression here. We talk about fashion, we talk about art, we talk
Like, this
about
motherfucker's messy. Where the fuck? He's
Construction,
all over the place.
rebar.
No, we talk about
Tourism.
steel and tourism. What do you think has been the core thing that has
Common
led
denominator?
you? Yeah.
Common denominator. Damn. You know,
I'll answer for you.
go ahead.
Design.
Well, I was about to say that, but I was
That's
like,
crazy. Think about that.
But design could be flipped in so many ways,
Well, that-
right?
listen,
But that's his passion.
so I joked with Thomas, but it wasn't a joke, right? So I design life, culture, and experience.
Shit.
That's it's a reality. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean, before when I got into the design industry, I never once in my life ever wanted to be a designer. I wanted to be a comic book artist of all things. Like you know, what I mean, I collect comic books. I still have a bunch of comic books. My nephew's now benefiting of
Yeah.
getting some of the comic books that I own,
Getting them.
and some of them are a lot
I was
valuable.
about to say, talk that money shit. Don't front like you ain't talking money shit.
They're of value. They're of value. But you know, I wanted to do that. I got into the designers because I felt it was the easiest route. I looked at it and I was like, all right, this is an easy route.
Because it's natural.
It's natural to me,
Yeah.
and two, And not knocking anybody, it goes back to what I just said. It's like a lot of people were just there because they were there. That means that their growth is only determined by the person that put them on. You know what I mean? I wasn't put on. I got there as an intern, and I looked at everything. I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. The parties are cool. The free clothes are cool. Nah, but I want more.
Yeah.
And I don't need nobody here to pay attention to me. That's actually, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want you to think I'm stupid. I want you to think everything other than me.
Yeah.
That's the thing that opened it up. So with that, I was like, all right, I can design. So I never wanted to be a clothing designer. But it just became this thing, this natural. I'm doing that. It's a sense what's paying the bills, right?
Yeah.
And
So
you
I'm
do this
doing-
shit in like 10 minutes.
Now, I do it kind of fast.
Yeah.
Just kind of get it out the way.
Yeah. Knock
That's why
that
I
out.
did it. But then I started traveling. You know, I would travel when I was younger. Shout out to the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because of them, I was able to travel. I was, by the time I was 17, I was in Morocco, Spain, UK, South Africa. Spent whole summers there.
And that opened your eyes to the world.
I mean, forget about it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've been to DR before then, but DR, that was it.
That's
You know what
home,
I
though,
mean?
right?
Maybe you go to other states. You know, it's what it is. You know, before I used to knock Dominicans only go to DR, and then one of my friends, he tweeted something. Actually, it resonated with me. I understood it because they asked the questions like, why do Dominicans only go to DR, and they call it traveling? And his response was, imagine, and everybody here, imagine this. Imagine being able to see your mom, your dad, your friends only once a year. Are you going to go to Spain, or are you going to go see them?
Family.
That's real.
Yo,
You know.
in the same vein, I have a question about your child, right? So like now that you've had all these lessons, you've been around the world, you're an investor at this point, you're a great professional at this point. Like, what lessons do you have for?
Right. Allegedly.
Listen, man, we need deal flow out here. So, but like, what lessons do you have for your daughter at this point? Because those lessons are, at this point, not only for your daughter but for everyone's children, right?
It's actually, I practice it with my little cousins. Actually, a lot of them they're way older than my daughter, but I practice it with them. It's just like, yo, listen, go for it. I'm trying to give them what wasn't given to me, and I don't want to say that like I'm bitter towards like how I was raised. I'm not.
No, not at all.
My mom was great. She raised 5 kids by herself. She was awesome. I mean, none of us ever stepped foot in jail, got caught up in street shit. That's difficult for a mother that's working.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the hood, like, but my siblings, at least, my siblings are like a lot, like they're old, not a lot older than me, but they're older than me, where they're only like a year apart, each of them.
Okay.
Like the oldest is a year apart from the other one, and that one's a year apart from the other.
So y'all still
Then
kind of close
me-
together.
Well, not me. I'm like 5-6 years. I'm like 5-6 years.
Okay.
You know, so it's a little bit different for me, and they were a little bit more concerned for me. But you know, knowing that infused me. But what I try to tell them,
Let me actually rephrase it. So we always talk about having the room to fail, right? You didn't have much room to fail as you were growing up,
but I did though.
right? You did, but you didn't. You don't have the same room to fail that your daughter has to fail at this point.
Yeah,
How do you feel about creating that room to fail as an entrepreneur?
I think it's important. See, the thing is that I didn't realize that I did have room to fail, because the people that you were checking in with, they're trying to pick you apart, where were they doing?
Facts.
What
I
were you
love
doing?
that. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing? You checking in with somebody else. Like you can talk shit to me. You can talk down to me, right? But when your boss in the room, you shutting the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean?
Talk that talk.
No one walks in the room and I shut up. Right. That's a fucking fact. So
No. That's an absolute fact. If God was in the room right now, like, yo, it's heaven or hell.
Yo, listen, I'm gonna let you finish.
Right.
But we gotta finish this podcast. but no, what I would tell them, like, I was not given the room to fail, but it was just like, you know, I was just very open to a lot of things when I was young, right? Just in fact, I just saw things a little bit differently, right? My daughter, all I want for her is to be a good person.
That's such a blessing.
That in itself will fix everything else.
Facts.
I was raised to be a good person, but I wasn't taught to be a good person. I was told to be a good person. You understand what I'm saying?
There's a difference.
There's a big difference.
Be good.
You go to church, you do this, you were told to be a good person. I wasn't taught to be a good person. It was expected you have to be a good person. Don't fucking embarrass me. It wasn't like be a good person for yourself. don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass his family.
Got you.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
you get what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
a big
Yeah.
difference, though.
That's a huge difference. That's not telling somebody anything. You don't
Yeah.
embarrass me. I don't give a fuck what you do. Just don't embarrass me.
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So with my daughter, I'm gonna allow her to do. Listen, I'm gonna allow her to fail. You have to.
That's so important.
That's the one thing. Listen, if I've done nothing in life, I've already succeeded by just being her having that freedom.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna apply pressure to her for not, I'm gonna apply pressure to the things that she has to be pressured in. But in regards to just like, explore, do what you have to do.
Take some losses.
Take some losses.
Take a lot of losses.
If you don't
Fail
take,
fast.
listeners, if you don't take losses, you're not fucking winning.
Fail
You've
fast.
never
Yeah.
won
Exactly.
if you don't take losses.
Now, I know we don't live with regrets, but what is one thing that you wish you would have done differently in your...
Start fucking with Thomas Lord.
You heard?
You know what? That's not even the thing I've learned in life experiences. Like, put it like this: even at the best of times, like when my phone's, my Rolodex is flooded with billionaires, I still went through hard times. Still go through hard times. And that's the one thing people gotta understand about entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter which, because the people start questioning themselves. And I'll get you your question. I just wanted to get that thought off my head. Like, people think they're in the flow, things are going good, things go bad, and then all of a sudden, it's like, I'm a fucking failure. It's not a failure. This shit just goes bad.
Yeah, you just gotta learn from this shit.
But, I know all these people. I know all this shit. Why isn't it working for me? Just keep fucking plugging away.
Yeah.
Thomas will tell you, I just plug away, dude. You just gotta keep
Word.
plugging away. Say your question one more time, Chad. I'm sorry.
You don't even remember? He's talking about regrets, right?
Regrets.
The question is, like, what is one thing with your
Yes.
career you would have done differently?
And that's how I got into that little rant that I went into. I used to think about that when things weren't going good, be like, damn, I wish I would have. And then something clicked. Something clicked when things were at the worst, and I was just like, yo, fuck it. I don't regret anything. I think, especially in business, what has to happen has to happen. I've had many partners in many different things, and none of those things have succeeded. And the one thing that those things that when they don't succeed, what it teaches me is who that other person is.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I've seen it.
And you see, and I've seen it. So the thing is, imagine this. Imagine what you thought was gonna wins. Now this fucking asshole that's next to you is also a multimillionaire. How bad of an impact is that person gonna be on other people's lives by having that much power and money? So so you take losses. You don't just take losses for yourself. You take losses for society, dude.
For real.
You're not supposed to have what you're not supposed to have.
Did this person next to me deserve what we're about to get? It's a real thing. So
That's it. I mean, you could only think about that after the fact. Everybody looking at Brian. They're all looking at you.
You looking at me right here?
yeah, like you still need to get off this podcast. Yo. You don't deserve this.
Yeah, fuck out of here. Everybody looking at me like, yo, get this nigga out of here, out of here.
Nah, but let's get into some fuck shit real quick.
Oh, you gonna talk about that?
That shit wasn't supposed
Tom
to be
has
like
not
that.
been speaking on this podcast the whole fucking time.
Well, you've been dropping gems for hours straight, man. Bro.
Right. What is one thing you wish FUBU would have done differently?
They would have. I think. Well, internally, there's things that FUBU as the company, the internal company, they could have had every other company. Every other company went to them.
Shout out to
Every
Tell,
other
by the way.
company that you could possibly think of went to them, and they could have had all of them, and they didn't.
Wow.
You talking about all of the black
I'm talking
designers,
about
Kanai,
all of
Walk Over
no.
There.
The Kanai
All
came
those?
before. All no.
Okay.
I'm talking about all of them that you know. I won't mention them. But you can just round them off. You
I
can
just
straight-
tried. and I
They're
failed.
they're
I tried to add Walk Away.
none
on
of
that.
because you're fucking dating me too. Like I'm some fucking.
My
Talking
bad.
about Sean John. You're talking about
Rockaware.
Every single
Rockaware.
one of them have come through those doors. That door was the HBCU of fucking streetwear fashion.
That's wild.
Yo, that's so real.
Help me understand what the fuck this cell phone FUBU spot is?
The mobile, Fubu mobile.
It's a license. It's a license.
Oh, okay.
I don't know too much
And they're
about
like
that.
Wait,
fixing
what are you
phones.
talking about? What are you
Fubu is
talking
fixing
about?
They have like
phones.
Fubu mobiles. I mean, it's like
Where's it at?
I'm not
Where's
too.
this at?
I'm not too like. It's a, like, you know, the licenses you don't necessarily. I don't necessarily know a lot about
That's an
those.
interesting play.
Wait, hold on. Who owns this though?
Damon John.
Okay, so he's fixing phones under the name.
Nah,
Fubu?
come on, you pushing it right now.
No, I need to know.
gonna
I
do
need to
that.
know. Nah. Give me the details.
Yeah, so he is actually.
Not he. Let me correct
Yeah,
that.
please correct it.
I
'cause,
gotta go see these motherfuckers.
Right.
No, for me, I want to understand.
Right.
I want to
So
understand.
fucking edit this shit out.
No.
You're wilding
No,
right now.
I need to understand the business model, because I thought that was pretty interesting for Damon John specifically to go that route, considering what he's got with Shark Tank. You know, so
I mean, think
for me, it just came left like, oh shit, like Damon John is doing like a fix and repair spot.
This is perfect. What you're saying is perfect, right?
And I'm not knocking it. I just want to understand the model.
But what you're saying is perfect, right? To what you were talking about in your last podcast, right? Why don't we have our own? The reason why we don't have our own, not knocking you, what you're saying, it's that reason is that for exactly. Do you question the model of Metro PCS?
Yes.
Nah, you can't. It's a publicly traded
But you get what
company.
I'm saying? It
Shout out to
it
Cricket.
pops up
Yeah.
in the hood, and
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's like it's a Fubu mobile. It's being questioned. Who cares? Fucking.
It should be celebrated. You're right.
It should be
Yeah,
celebrated.
I guess.
And I'm not saying it's you saying that. I'm just you get what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you don't question when a Sprint store or Verizon store is on the corner.
Nah, I don't like it.
You don't like it, but you
Yeah.
don't question its business model. You understand what that business model is. It's retail. It's
Right.
owning a piece of some pie. Think about why give our money to Metro PCS when you can give your money to a black-owned company like Fubu.
Yeah, maybe Chad didn't have the context, because that's why I started questioning it, because I'm in the fashion world, right? I'm thinking fashion. That's all I see, that scope of Fubu, right? But when you say, like you say it there,
Right.
it makes perfect sense, you know?
I mean, the biggest problem that we had in fashion, right, is that we only stuck to that.
Yeah.
Rockefeller's fucking name, Rockefellers, their fucking name is a Carnegie name is fucking
Still.
everywhere. They got
Right.
fucking delis.
Real.
Like, let's keep it fucking
Yeah.
real. Nobody questions that. It's
Infrastructure.
It's like once you build something respectfully and just like, you know, make it look nice, cultivate the shit correctly, curate the shit right,
Yeah.
you should be able to expand it. And I think our problem is, as people, we fucking question that shit too much.
Well, let me ask you this. With him doing something like that, how do we franchise it?
We should qualify him because that's unfair, right? It's like a team of folks, right? It's not
Yeah,
just-
it's a team of folks.
It is a team of folks, but
Damon,
there's-
Damon is the brains behind Fubu. Period. Him and his partners are the brains behind Fubu, right? In regards to everything else, the business aspect, it's a team of people that do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the end of the day, if it looks good, it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
It's a whole consensus. You know,
Right.
and it makes sense to them. It makes sense to them.
I just want to understand. He has the format, the
Platform,
template,
the Shark Tank platform, right?
No, not even. He just has the format for building businesses. How do you duplicate that and share that knowledge with us, right? Like so, for example, franchises, right? They give you everything. All you do is pay for the licensing. They handle all the marketing. They handle all the branding. They handle all the distribution. Everything is done for you, and you're paying for the license, and you maintain. How do we build that for ourselves?
Well, you know, I think that's the plan. You know, honestly, like I'm not too informed on the Fubu mobile spot, right? I'm not too informed. That's nothing to do with me, but I think that is the plan. You know, and I can't speak for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't give, this is what Damon, that's Damon's Damon. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Keith is Keith, Carl is Carl, and Jay is Jay. Like, you know, like they can speak. I can't speak on that. I definitely can't speak on their child. Like, you know, it's, but if you ask me my opinion, I think that is the plan. I think with anything, you know, Carl is, has the Fubu hotels, and he's
I heard
ahead
about
of
that. I heard about
Jay,
that.
Jay got the Fubu TV, and he has things built out.
Yeah.
And Keith has the Fubu radio, and you know they're all working.
I love how they're using the FUBU name.
I didn't
and
even
not
know
like-
about
it's a
a
big
lot
deal.
of
Yeah.
the hotels. So we're gonna
I mean,
drop
they're like
links.
they're really working. Those guys never stop working, man.
Yeah.
They're like to be. I was like I said, I was fortunate between them and being under Willie, and I've been really very Willie. Forget about it. I mean, we can have another podcast just about him.
Right.
Yo, he needs to pull up. Tell him pull up, man.
Yo,
Let's talk about this real estate in Newark too, man. We can't forget about that. You heard?
really
Shout out
quick,
to
because
Basketball Sons.
you're a creative, right? And coming from your neighborhood, you see a salon, a barber shop, a laundromat, and you go into a gentrified neighborhood, and everything is designed. The aesthetic is completely different.
Trash.
You know, like it's got this modern, trendy design. How come we can't have that in our neighborhood?
Yeah,
Like-
you feel that way too? I look around and I be like, this shit looks crazy.
Yeah, like
Speaking from this neighborhood, the birthplace of gentrification, I'm gonna tell you what happened. When I was younger, there used to be these blue vans floating around. It was like the federal government, right? They used to go around
Talk about it.
and it's in this neighborhood. Think about what this neighborhood is, real estate in this neighborhood. And he used to be like, "Yeah, you want that building? We'll give you 30 grand right now. Take the building." And you look at the building, the shit like got hit with a bomb, and you're like, "Yo, fuck you." And then you got a huge immigrant population. You got huge Hispanic population here that we're not taught banking.
Right.
Minorities aren't taught banking. They aren't taught investment. We're just like we're keeping money in the mattress and in plants and shit like that. Like understand what I'm saying? So our crackhead fucking friends don't grab it.
Yeah.
That's so real. Our community is still afraid of debt.
Well, yeah,
That's a
what it
really
is.
scary
They were
thing.
handing these buildings out, like literally the fucking. If you try to go get an apartment 2 blocks down, for that one apartment that's the size of this fucking studio right now, it's like $3,000.
That's wild.
They gave that building to that person for 10 grand probably.
You know, Jay-Z want to get an apartment in Dumbo. Guess how you feel now. Dumbo.
You want to know what's crazy? Like all those, and like the line's cool, but I don't respect any of that. I'm only for the simple reason it's like you saw this place, what it went
Word.
through
Yeah.
a long time ago.
And you didn't invest in it.
For anybody to tell me, not knocking him, whatever, he has his own team that does whatever it is, but it's like for anybody to be like, oh, you could have bought a spot in Brooklyn. The moment you saw a fucking white person there, when they using that, they used to never
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
You should have learned. We don't learn. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We
Right.
talk all this thing about what we want to do. We just don't learn anything.
Or try to
Alright,
learn.
Yo, so we gonna open some shit up in South Jamaica, Queens, right
That's
there,
it.
stuff in. Cause I seen a white
Listen.
dude running down the block.
Actually,
with his
you know what,
shirt
though, to
off.
Jose's point, it is that time, though. Seriously, right?
It is.
It's in its infancy to
Listen,
invest
man.
in these neighborhoods.
The most wealthiest people in this country. The one thing
Yeah.
they go through. The one line they constantly say is that when there's blood on the streets, you buy fucking property.
Facts.
And that's a fact.
I got a real estate investor in my family that said if I could finance the Empire State Building, I would.
We're just getting a call back about there's a studio available.
Too late. You already
I
got
say
it.
Jim, no, my uncle, he still tells me to this day, he's like 75 years old, maybe 80 at this point. If I could finance the Empire State Building, I would.
Mm.
If I could afford the debt, there's always money to make, right? And
Yeah.
I don't think we think
Always
like that
be.
at all.
No.
Not at
Right.
all. Not at all. And then think about it. Think about it when we try to start thinking like that, right? It was when they
Yeah.
handed out fucking mortgages to us.
When we stop being afraid of like a little $10 million in debt, all right, cool. You could have
A
made.
little $10 million in debt.
Nah, but think about that, right? If it makes money, but yo, I think we should wrap up.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sorry,
So
guys.
Jose,
I took up all the
yo,
time.
it's been a pleasure. We do challenges, right? At the end of every episode, we kind of challenge the listeners to kind of just come away with something. And I want you to drop. I mean, you dropped a lot of gems. You dropped
A lot
patience.
of
Now it's
gems.
fucking
You dropped
pressure.
burning bridges. There's a lot of
Chad
things.
can go
but-
first. You don't gotta go first.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I go
Chatty O.
first?
Yeah, go first this time.
You know we do this.
Let me get a challenge from you.
Yo, I want my challenge is for everyone to buy black.
Okay.
Even if you're
And Brown.
buy diverse.
Buy inclusively.
Buy inclusively. Even if you're listening and you're not a person of color. Got me
Yes.
using my HR slang here.
There you go.
Sorry,
POC
everybody
out
gotta know. Everybody gotta understand.
Yeah, even if you're not a person of color, I want you to buy black. I want you to walk into a black-owned business and buy
Because
black.
it matters.
Yeah.
I'll go around the
We'll
horn.
save the best for last.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go clockwise. Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh, all right. Nah,
let my guy B go last one time, yo.
I was gonna say
Oh,
So
all
Jose,
right.
yeah.
What up? But
guest.
my challenge is in the vein of Jose's ascension. Fall in love with the things you were originally in love with. Fall in love with those things. Like,
Wow.
think about what you grew up loving and go do it again.
Yo, I mean, I'll piggyback off of that. I was
my job. Damn.
very simple, but like
right.
follow that passion, right? I know you got side hobbies, hustles, and all that. Go do it, you know, because you never know if it's gonna turn into something. So that's kind of
you like to draw, go draw. If you like me, I was a tech guy, and I opened my
Follow
computer
that.
back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go back to your shit.
Yeah.
Go back to your shit. Like,
Go back to that shit.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
No more
about
Excel
Thomas.
sheets for Thomas.
I'm just thinking about Thomas and his MacBook Air with the Japanese keyboard, yo.
oh yeah, I'll go back to my shit.
Where you got it for cheap?
I get everything for cheap. You know,
I'm over here looking for QWERTY, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is on this dude's
all
keyboard?
you gotta know is
man?
that power's on the top row. Right. Spell it out.
Jose, what's your challenge?
My challenge is kind of what you guys asked me, right? So, find your common denominator.
Yeah.
Listen, like if just hearing it, be like, oh, it's all over the place. It's not. It's always the same thing. One thing always leads to where I'm at. Like, I mean, I design whatever it is. Design businesses, design logos. Well, I don't do that no more.
It's quiet for that. It's quiet for that. Yeah.
Design clothes. Design
Real estate.
experiences. We
I'll
just
help
did an
you.
experience in Bermuda. It was incredible.
Beautiful.
You know, just design experiences.
Alcohol. Keep going.
Just find your common denominator. You can do a million things. Find the stuff, but find the stuff that they all have in common. Because once you figure that part out, and once you get good at that, you can spread yourself. It's bullshit that you can't do a billion things. You have help for that.
Yeah.
You can't do a billion things by yourself. Same fucking golf. Even golfers have caddies.
Shout out to the
I
interns.
ain't got one.
Yo, well, let's wrap this shit up, man.
Yeah, man. Yo, it's been another episode. Yo,
Abstract Square Podcast. Jose, thank you for coming.
No
It's your
doubt.
boy Chad.
it's B.
Are y'all doing it again in the LES?
Yo.
For sure, we coming back.
You know,
Yo,
I'll
you
be
know-
outside. I'll be the engineer. Like, I'll design some engineering.
Next time you're not a guest, man.
Hey, listen, whatever.
All right. What's your name again, son?
Handsome.
Yo,
Thomas.
it's a wrap. Holla.
Holla.